what I've been waiting for!
Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 2 is finally happening, which I am very excited for, by the way. I think I'm honestly the most excited I have been for a video game in a long time. But of course, with that, there's a lot of questions about the game. What's the info? What will be the new modes? How will it be released? What about its gameplay? But most importantly, how its character is going to be handled. Well, I'm here to help with this video, giving you the most details about Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 2 that we currently know about. Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 2 is once again developed by Ludosity and Fairlab Plays, as well published by Game Mail Entertainment. The game is currently set to be released on Xbox Series X, PlayStation 4 and 5, Nintendo Switch, and PC. While the game only has a pre-order now listing, multiple game sites does list the game coming out in the 24th of October of 2023. Like the first game, we're more likely going to have a single player or local play, stock battles or time battles like the first game had. The sports matches from the first game, not sure if that's coming back or not, but we also have confirmation that there will be a brand new and improved training mode in this as well. And like before, we're going to have an arcade mode. I don't know if it will be the same as the first one or completely changed, but we do have an arcade mode coming. One of the biggest additions to the game is a campaign mode. Yep, we're going to have an original story dealing with Vlad Plamisis, the villain behind Danny Phantom, returning to cause some havoc over the Nickelodeon universe as he wants to, well, take it over. The campaign mode will have war-like mechanics, which while I'm not too sure on how that works exactly, it does have a bit of a, if you lose, you gotta go back a certain bit while you keep in your characters and supposedly currency, which definitely makes me interested on how that will work. The campaign mode will include a lot of animated cutscenes and original dialogue between the characters. As you start off this mode, you play as SpongeBob, but the more you progress with him, the more you'll be unlocking the other characters who will have their own individual stories to complete as well. There'll also be brand new minigames, which while the amount of the minigames hasn't been confirmed just yet, we do have some info on specific 3 minigames that will be coming out later, such as with Pinch the Blimps, Whack-A-Bot, and Urkan Armada Bootcamp Survival. And finally, the game will include a boss rush, which more likely confirms that the campaign mode will have boss fights between specific characters that you can't play as, including possibly Vlad. As previously mentioned, the game is set to be released on the 24th of October of this year. However, there is 3 editions of the game that you can purchase. The first of these is the base edition, just the base game as it is for $50. This one can be bought physically or digitally. The deluxe edition costs $70 and includes the base game and also the season pass, but the only catch is this is a digital only release, so no physical version of this edition is coming. The Ultimate Edition, which costs $80, and it includes everything from the deluxe edition, but as well one premium skin per character, so unless you buy the Ultimate Edition, a lot of these costumes that are planned for every character in the roster may not be available. I'm hopeful that maybe later on, say for those who either buy either the base game or the deluxe edition, that the skins for all the other characters can be bought separately, similar to how SpongeBob Cosmic Shake, or you go back to Game Mail Entertainment with Nickelodeon games, how the Turbo edition of Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3 was handled, just made separately as a separate DLC. As I mentioned, there's also a Season Pass, where throughout 2024, 4 additional characters will be added throughout the year, as well including a premium SpongeBob skin at launch. The Season Pass on its own costs over $25 on its own, so if you want the 4 additional characters later on, if you buy the base game, this is the other way of doing it. So either you can buy either the Deluxe or Ultimate Edition, or buy the Season Pass separately. Now, as I was recording this, I wanted to wait after until the EVO convention related to Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 2 to get the gameplay down, because we didn't quite knew how the gameplay was going to work out. but luckily now, we have a better idea on how the gameplay is going to be handled. This time, however, Nick All Star Brawl 2 has decided to remove some features from the first game, such as the rock, paper, scissors mechanic, which, personally speaking, I forgot that was a thing, and I don't even know how that works. But now every character will still have a standard and strong attack, and while there haven't been confirmation that all the characters' movesets will be redone for this game, some characters could potentially have some returning moves from the first game. Like Jenny, for example, has the hammer move like she did in the first game, SpongeBob can still blow bubbles, and Patrick can still do this little buff spin attack. But it definitely feels like in this game, it definitely plays more like Smash Brothers. It has the wave dashing like before, and it plays more in line to how the Smash Brothers normally play. It even has the shield mechanic from Smash Brothers, where if you hold it for a certain amount of time, you get dizzy. And as well, there's still the usual attacks, like you have your standard attacks, your strong attacks, and your aerials. But what's most notable about Nick All Star Brawl 2 is that there's a slime meter. It reminds me of that PlayStation Smash Bros. Clone, but also, really enough, that Cartoon Network Smash clone, where that game also had a similar mechanic of collecting a certain amount of objects to activate a character's special move, though in comparison to that game, Nick All Star Brawl has a very more unique method when it comes to the slime attack. It's not a requirement to knock off the opponents, it still plays like typical Smash Brothers. But what can happen is that you can charge your attacks, both your standard or your special attacks, to make things powerful. Such as SpongeBob, who can blow one small bubble, can use it to shoot out 3 larger bubbles, or Patrick going for a little spin attack suddenly gets even buffer and makes his spin attack even stronger. A lot of these will require 1 meter of the slime to be used, but there is some additional stuff you can do, such as a slime attack, which can help out, well, cancel certain attacks from the other players, or help out get a little smaller boost in attack, or cancels an attack and does a second one instead. But what's more important is it will have a super move, which is essentially the final smash in Nick All Star Brawl 2. When you fill out the bar completely with 3 bars, you will activate that character's special move, with everyone having their own unique one. SpongeBob, for example, goes on his driving test, but hitting the other characters who stand in the way. So God knows how the rest of the roster will be handled in terms of what moves they can do in the game. The slime mechanic looks very interesting and has a bit of fun and also a bit of risk to it on when you use your slime meter to either defend yourself or increase your attacks. And it still feels very like a Nickelodeon-esque type of element because they love their slime, so having a slime meter in the game is very in line with Nickelodeon's branding. But even then, I still find the whole concept of the slime meter very interesting, especially seeing the possibilities per every character's moveset. And again, seeing their own super move as well. But most importantly, the one thing about Nick All Star Brawl 2 that has people curious is the characters. The first game included 25 characters, with 20 in the base game, 2 free DLCs, and 3 paid DLCs. Returning from the first game so far are SpongeBob, Patrick, April O'Neil, Lucy Loud, Reptar, Sim, Ren and Stimpy, Nigel Thornberry, Danny Phantom, Aang, Cobra, Jenny, Garfield, and Wacko. The characters from the first game that are currently absent from mentioning in Nick All Star Brawl 2 are CatDog, Helga, Hugh Neutron, Leonardo, Lincoln Loud, Michelangelo, Oblina, Powdered Toast Man, Sandy, Shredder, and Todd. Of course, people are speculating that some characters have been cut, especially how we weren't given that much of an answer from an interview from the crew, but from Papagino, who has been a very reliable source when it comes to Nickelodeon All Star Brawl news, there have been mentions by him that there is no confirmed cut characters. So, as far as we're all aware, because this is still a rumor, but hopefully it's the case, that all 25 characters will be returning from the first game. So, we have 25 characters already. Now, how many new characters are going to join in on Nick All Star Brawl 2? So far, we have 5 confirmed new characters coming to Nick All Star Brawl 2. These are Donatello, Jimmy Neutron, Plankton, Raphael, and Squidward. However, here we have a little spoilery thing. We could potentially have an image that reveals the entire roster in terms of the newcomers coming to Nick All Star Brawl 2, because the image has that kind of title screen look to it that makes me think that this is real. Also, because one of the characters was confirmed after this image was released, and that being Plankton. So, a lot of people have speculated that the other 6 characters confirmed during this leak could be coming out in the game later on down the line. So, for those who don't want to know who's coming to Nick All Star Brawl 2 and want to speculate and all the usual stuff related to finding out which characters are coming to a fighting game, go to this section in the video to go over my end thoughts instead. But for those who are curious or just aware of it already, here we are with the brand new characters coming to Nick All Star Brawl 2 so far. We have the Zula from the Avatar franchise, which essentially means for the entire Avatar franchise, both counting Avatar and The Legend of Korra, we have 4 characters represented for the franchise. Some people have been a bit disappointed that Prince Zuko is not a character, but I still see some potential with Azula, especially with her blue lightning and fire. So, and again, she's a villain, which we're going to get later on, that there is a kind of possibility that more villains will be coming in the roster. So, with Azula and Plankton, we got more villains to come. Next up, we have El Tigre, which, funny enough for El Tigre, he could have been the reason a lot of people knew that Nick All Star Brawl 2 was happening. Mainly because the series creator mentioned that the character was possibly hinted to be coming to a platform fighting game from Nickelodeon, and there were some leaks a few months ago that showcased him in the game, which the creator confirmed. However, later on, it was confirmed those pictures of El Tigre were fake. However, I would still say the series creator, George, still revealed that El Tigre was still coming to the game anyway. It just wasn't that specific model that was shown months ago. And lo and behold, here he is in the cover. So, El Tigre confirmed to be coming in Nick All Star Brawl 2. We have Ember from Danny Phantom, which kind of feels like kind of a compromise to me. Depending on how Vlad is treated in the game, is he going to be a boss-only character for the campaign, or will he be a playable character after completing? Where I think if it is the former, that he is just a boss-only character, Ember kind of feels like a way as a kind of a compromise to Danny Phantom fans for not giving Vlad a playable moveset and still have another Danny Phantom character in the roster. Next up, we have 2 characters from the same show, which this one's very interesting. We have Gerald from Hey Arnold and Grandma Goody from Hey Arnold as well. Very interesting choices. I mean, Gerald, the best friend of Arnold. And if we have Helga returning from the first game, we have his crush and slash bully. And then we have his little grandma as a roster, but Arnold himself is not in the game. I think Nickelodeon has confirmed he's just a pacifist, meaning he's just not a character who goes into combat. But that Brawl Universe app game had Arnold as a playable character, so I don't know. Still though, if Helga's returning from the first game, you still got 3 characters from Hey Arnold represented, so at least there's still more from that show. We got Norbert and Daggett from Angry Beavers. This is kind of surprising because, like with El Tigre, these 2 characters are from a show that, did well enough, isn't really as represented in the Nickelodeon games. I mean, the only one they appeared in was the Nicktoons racing game on the PlayStation 1 and arcade. So having the 2 return in All Star Brawl 2 is a very good choice. It's a very good thing to see, especially for those who actually wanted to see the Angry Beavers in the roster. And probably like with Ren and Stimpy, there'll be a duo character, relying on each other to fight other characters. So, yeah, like with Ren and Stimpy, or even Cat Dog in a way, Norbert and Daggett are in together. So, with that, we have the new characters in the roster, and we still have the 4 additional characters through the Season Pass coming out next year. So, if all 25 characters are returning from the first game, with the 11 newcomers, that's already 36 characters in the base launch, which is a fairly good amount of characters for the launch of a game. And then if we include the Season Pass, it will include 40 characters, so that's still a very good amount of characters. Again, it all depends on Vlad, where if he's playable as well, he could potentially raise us up to 37 to 41 characters. So, we gotta find out how Vlad is working in the game, but at least for now, if all the characters from the first game are returning, and we have the 11 newcomers as it is, we could have 36 characters at launch, which is a very good amount. Oh, I also forgot to mention, the game will include full-on voice acting from the characters again, so every character will have a voice, which is kind of up in the air if some actors from the past will be returning as certain characters. Like, we have Roger Compass as Squidward. I think they're gonna get the Turtles in there. I think Walt Paulson does Raphael. And we have Demi Dumlalo, I don't know how to pronounce the last name, for Jimmy Neutron. And most recently, we do got Mr. Lawrence, or Doug Lawrence, back as Plankton. So, for at least for the newcomers, it's up in the air if any of their potential voice actors will be coming back, but more likely they will, because Amber's voiced by Tara Strong, Azula's voiced by Greg Griffin. At least one of the Angry Beavers is voiced by Richard Horace, so he's voicing Sim in the game, so he'll be back as one of the Beavers, while the other actor has done the voice of the other Beaver. I don't watch Angry Beavers, so I don't know who's who, but I know he done the voice of the characters in Nick Racing some time ago in the PlayStation 1 and 2. I'd say the voice of LT Gray will be coming back because the actress who voiced did the voice of the character in some Nickelodeon games in the past and is still alive. So I'd say she'll be coming back as LT Gray. Gerald, more likely they're going to get whoever they got voicing him in the third kart racer game. As for Grandma Gertie, I don't know if they're going to get Tresna Meal back to voice her in the game, but hopefully she'll come back as the character. So yeah, that's everything. And also we have skins. Like I mentioned in the Ultimate Edition, we do have skins for characters coming, so while we don't know all the skins currently, and we don't even know how many the characters will have, we have some info on some characters. Like for example, we have SpongeBob still wearing his lucky #1 hat, we have Patrick dressing up as Barnacle Boy, we have Squidward both wearing his artist outfit and a Band Geeks outfit. I think some have mentioned that April O'Neil could be wearing a costume that the character wore in the 2012 series of the Turtles. Like I mentioned in the Season Pass, there is a premium SpongeBob skin which some people think it could be the Speedster, and there is a pre-order bonus that does include the elastic waistband for Patrick. So we have a lot of skins coming out, so that'll be interesting to see like how many outfits the characters will wear that's pulled from the source materials. So with that, I think that's everything related to Nick All Star Brawl 2 that we currently know about. I'm definitely excited for the game. I am planning to cover it a bit more in detail as it comes out. But for now, thank you guys for watching this video, and stay tuned for my Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 1 videos that are coming out later in August and September. So, see you guys later.